Welcome, Bill, to the Economic War Room.
Hey, Kevin, good to see you.
I love your show. You have great guests. It's always in-depth conversations. It's not this rapid-fire talking head complain about what's wrong today. So tell us about the Bill Walton Show.
Well, I think that people can learn a lot more from an in-depth conversation with somebody who's really smart on a subject and maybe studied or lived it for years, and much more so than reading a book. I've found often in my investment business that if I could sit and talk with the entrepreneur for an hour, I learned a lot more in that hour than I did spending hundreds of hours in the library on the internet studying something. And I think we all learn that way. And so I've focused on conversations among smart people to try to get at the essence of the issues.
Well, it paid off. You had amazing results with your investment firms. Tell us a little bit about the background. What did you invest in? Private equity in a lot of cases. But what was your investment secret?
Well, I think my investments, that's a big question. I will try to boil it down. I think one of the things obviously is particularly when I was running Allied Capital, we were in the business of private equity and small business lending and commercial real estate lending and some venture capital. We were really across the board. And one of the keys was to get an investment team of people who are extremely smart and knew specific things about the areas we were investing in. So I guess it starts by surrounding yourself with the right people. And then I think you also need to have a very clear view about what you know and what you don't know. And in our case, Allied Capital, we like to invest in businesses, maybe 1 in 100, 1 in 500 businesses that we thought had a very clear dominant market share and high returns on capital and all that. And it worked really well. I think for any investors out there, you've got to recognize if you're looking at 100 companies, probably 90 of them aren't that investable. So you got to focus on the good ones.
That sounds a little bit like a Warren Buffett approach or even a John Templeton. I used to work for John Templeton, their approach. The great investors know exactly how to find the right investments.
Well, I have a Warren Buffett story. I was telling we got into the commercial real estate. One of the cycles, it was in ashes, and we came in and started picking up assets that we thought were undervalued. And we're at an investor conference, and I'm explaining how we're going after businesses. And I quote Warren Buffett, and I said, we try to be cautious when other people are greedy, but greedy when other people are afraid. And this old guy sitting in the front row said to me, "Yeah, but you're not Warren Buffett." Anyway, it worked out really well for us. I had some we ended up doing well in real estate, buying at the bottom of the cycle and hopefully selling near the top.
Yeah, well, all of this is predicated, though, on a free market economy, which makes these investment opportunities work. You get outside of the free market, and it's all cronyism. It's all, who do you know, and are you in control in the political things? Tell us about how we've had a great free market economy and where we're going off the rails today, and I think we are, aren't we?
Well, one of the things, when I merged my company after the aftermath of the meltdown in 2008, 2009, merged it successfully with Ares Capital. One of the things that I was interested in was understanding more about the policies that made for successful businesses and what made America, highly productive and a successful place to invest in. And, I think the conditions I saw were what I saw when I was running a public company. The regulatory state has grown rapidly. We're seeing all sorts of new agencies prop up. Old agencies like the EPA have increased and extended their mandates. And so if you're running a company or if you want to build something, it takes forever just to get the permitting to do it. So there's a regulatory administrative state that we've got to recognize with. And then I think one other big thing, there are many of them, that we need to figure out is that what the Federal Reserve has done with zero interest rates and QE and all the sorts of leveraging up that not only the Federal Reserve Bank has done, but all the other central banks, they've made the macro environment almost investable with rates where they were you couldn't really tell where to allocate capital. So we got to get the noise of the monetary people out of the market. I've got some simple ideas to do that. If Joe Biden wants to call me, I'll be glad to clue him in.